What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is TFE TV. We're here at the TFE Ranch. Absolutely beautiful day in end of November. This is Tuesday. We have a go home with George. Final go home, actually. George is the big ass Great Dane galloping behind me. One of the most common things people say when we're in public is, "Oh my God, that's a horse." I'm like, "Oh, I haven't heard that one before, buddy. That's a new one." It comes from a good place. Doesn't bother me too much. But anyway, just going to go over what I'm doing at the time. And if you appreciate the content, if you tune into the content and you take stuff from the content, don't be afraid to leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. I would subscribe to you. Any channel that I watch consistently earns my subscription. So if that's you, or if it's your first time, I appreciate you being here. Watch a couple of videos, and if you feel like I've earned a subscription, go ahead and do that for me. It would mean a lot. Thank you so much. Got 90,000 on IG, 150,000 on TikTok. We got 150,000 on Facebook. We got 5,272 on YouTube, and we're trying to grow this thing. So thank you so much for that. Without further ado, we're going to get straight into the video. Here at the TFE Ranch, we have a total of about 5 acres. We only utilize about 2 acres of it. So this is a very specific context. It's a very specific look for the dog. It's safe. It's a controlled environment. So right now we're off leash, but I never leave home without my long leash, because chances are you don't have 5 acres, 2 acres to work with. And so if you're going to go to a place where there might be a couple of people in a big open space, you're going to want to have access to a backup. And you always want to have your dog on a leash, even if they have great recall. Now we're going to prove to you here that we've been working on George's recall utilizing e-collar technologies. We're not going to get too far into depth about e-collar technologies, maybe for another video, but people pay me a lot of money to learn about this, and I prefer to teach it in person because it's very specific to the dog, all the levels and the temperament and personality and things like this. And we always layer this in after we work a good foundation of things. So we never start off with e-collar. We layer e-collar in after the dog has a foundation of obedience, just as a secondary measure, layering in a secondary measure of communication, and it becomes extremely reliable, which is why I love this tool so much. But always got to have the long line in the event you need to pop him back on the leash. You go someplace, there's not a lot going on, cool, be off leash. Our recall is good. But out of respect for other people, you chuck a leash on them. It's still kind of like an off-leash experience because you're giving them like 25 feet. But point of emphasis is when you do go to an environment like that, basically you're still gonna work on all the things that the dog has to fall back on. So if you can't get your obedience and you can't get what you need from a dog in an environment where there's not a lot of competing motivators like this one, there's nothing happening right now. The only competing motivator is, the fact that he's outside running around doing what he wants to do. When you start throwing in people and dogs and higher level stimuli, that's like next level shit, right? And that's why the long line is such a nice backup measure, even if you got e-collar, because if the e-collar fails for whatever reason, it doesn't register, or the dog's just choosing to ignore it in that moment, you still have the backup long line as a precaution. Always want to be careful. Safety has always been the #1 priority for us here at Team Floppy Ears, and so we want to encourage everybody to practice safe measures when it comes to training and handling dogs, specifically in public. But George is fucked off. I don't know where he is right now, and so what I'd like to do in this context is randomly call him home, I like to say. So we've got it on a level 11 for him. This goes to 100. I do not train at high levels. I feel like if you're training correctly, you do not have to train at high levels. You train at the level that the dog sort of lets you know works for them. So that's why it's like, I'm never going to teach you how to do this for your dog, because I don't know your fucking dog. And I'm not going to teach you shit about e-collar with your dog. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself with your specific dog. Tailor-made, okay? It's a tailor-made approach around here. There's no cookie-cutter bullshit. The dog dictates what's aversive and what's not, and we go from there. So I know a level 11 isn't really too much for him. Hey, George, here! Georgie! I'm going to keep tapping until I get a response from him. Good boy here! George! I'm going to keep tapping. He's got his note. Yes! Yes, here. Good boy. Good job, here. Tap, tap, tap. Yes, tap. Yes. Good boy. So that's just what I'll do randomly. And after that, I'll kind of just let him go back to doing whatever it is that he wants to do. Or if he's engaged with me, I might as well take advantage of that. Up. Good. We're using good as a marker for you did good. Keep doing what you're doing. Come back up here. Come on up. He's a little sketchy because it's unstable. Come on up. It's an unstable surface. Good. Use a little bit of muzzle pressure to keep him on. Sit. Good. Good. Lots of payments. Lots of payments. Good. Sit. A little bit of impulse control. No. Sit. We're going to go ahead and reinforce that and pay him for doing the good choice. Good. I'm not going to ask him to down because this surface isn't big enough for him. It's kind of unfair. But from here, next thing I want to do is maybe a recall. So, George, here. Good. Boom. Comes back to me. Good. If you get a voluntary recall, good. Mark and pay that. George, here. Yes. Good. So we're going to use yes as like an in motion. Yes, you did it. Yes, in motion. Good, stationary. Yes, you did it. Come get paid. Sit. Good. Yes. You see distinguish the difference between those two? A lot of people they're curious about that because they hear trainers say yes and good all the time, and they're two separate markers for two separate things. And how we differentiate those things is very simple. Good, you're doing good, keep doing what you're doing. Yes, you did it, come get paid. Stationary versus in motion. Here, yes. Boom, right there. Good boy. And I like to just wait till the dog isn't paying attention at all. George, here. Yes. Good. And again, I'm going to emphasize this. If you guys can't get this type of shit in an environment where there's not a lot happening, you're never in a million years going to get this behavior when you have competing motivators involved, because the dog at that point has absolutely nothing to fall back on. The pattern has not been set. And how do dogs learn, folks? They learn through patterns and repetitions. And that's why the e-collar is so lovely, is because, here, yes, is because you're tying in a small tap on the shoulder alongside the behavior that you're requesting. So that's what we call layering in. He's already done this stuff. Now we're layering in a sensation that really helps expedite the behavior. And that's why I tap, 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 here, tap, 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 good. And then the pressure comes off, okay? So I said I wasn't gonna get too much into the e-collar, but again, I also said I was gonna just talk about what I'm doing at the time. So we're gonna lure him around into a heel, sit. We're gonna sit him. He has a tendency of backing up a bit. If I wanted to continue working on that, which I have, and he's still doing it, is I'd have a leash on him and I would use some leash pressure to stop him from the back pedal. But again, you see this a lot with Great Danes. And that's why I'm always talking about, man, it's so tailor-made to the dog. Like everything is very specific to the dog. Down. Good. Good. Pay a couple times while the dog holds positions to further reinforce what you want from them. So the dog is learning without you forcing them at all. You know, something is really in it for him while he's performing. And I don't want him to get up until I give him a break, until I give him the next command. And this falls right in line with the same shit I've been preaching to my clients for the past 7 years. It's a what's next thing. What's next? What's next? What's next? You're going to get a dog that checks in a lot with you and a dog that's engaged with you if you're constantly calling the shots for them. Now, of course, he gets plenty of free time, run around like a psycho, do what you want. But if you don't have the other side to forging the dog that listens to you when you need it, and it's just a constant state of do what you want, constant state of arousal. George, here. Yes. Then you get a pushy, disobedient nightmare to handle. And you can never really give your dog the freedom that, in my opinion, every dog deserves. Every dog deserves this clear line of communication, and without it, the dog doesn't get to do as much. Does that make sense, you guys? Awesome. Here. Good. Sit. Yes. Now, I'm not crazy that he like backs up 5 feet, but he was just in the process of forming the behavior, which I was happy with. And then another thing is when you do a lot with dogs, you'll start to see them offering shit. And that's the learning process really taking its course. Good. So I didn't ask him to get up here, and I didn't ask him to sit. But this is proof that we've been putting in the work, because he's doing things without me even asking. He's staying put without me even asking. Here. Good boy. Yes, good boy. Does that make sense, you guys? And like I always say, I want to encourage you guys, if you're going to a board and train or you're going to a trainer, the dog will be proof in the pudding if the trainer's been doing shit or not. And they might be doing stuff, but they might be not doing it properly, because the dog never lies. That's it for today's video. I appreciate you guys tapping in. The heat is really starting to beat down like a motherfucker right now. But leave us a thumbs up on the video. Let me know if you have anything to add in the comment section below. If you want to see anything specific, I appreciate you so much. Until the next time, TFE TV, Captain Chad, Big George, out.